short message just to let you know that after 11 years with Salvage Hunters, I've decided it's time to move on. I've been lucky enough over the years to work with some amazing crew, visited some stunning locations and filmed with some lovely people.
When a familiar face suddenly disappears from a beloved TV show, fans are left with questions. John T., a quietly essential presence on Salvage Hunters for over a decade, vanished without explanation. What led to this unexpected break? And why was it kept secret for so long? From a shift in his role to private tensions behind the scenes, John T.'s exit is more complicated than it seems. Join us as we uncover the hidden truths behind his departure and explore how he's forged a new life away from the spotlight. Sudden departure, mystery. John T.'s disappearance from Salvage Hunters caught audiences completely off guard. For more than 11 years, he had been a constant presence alongside Drew Pritchard, quietly anchoring the show's often chaotic salvage adventures. Yet one day, without warning or explanation, T was simply gone. Viewers were left puzzled, wondering why a figure so integral to the program would vanish without any public farewell or clear cause. Behind the scenes, however, this sudden exit was anything but spontaneous. It was the culmination of issues long hidden from the audience, involving both professional shifts and personal struggles. The departure wasn't a temporary break or a minor change in plans. It marked a permanent and deliberate decision by T to step away from the series he had helped shape. This reality adds a layer of complexity that fans hadn't anticipated. Early signs of trouble appeared quietly. Slowly, T's screen time diminished, and where he once stood, almost as Drew's equal partner, he was gradually folded back into a generic crew role. His name and presence faded from the opening credits, and new faces emerged to take on responsibilities he had long handled. These changes hinted at something deeper stirring beneath the surface, a shift that would eventually alter the core dynamic of the show. What made the situation more perplexing was how discreetly everything was managed. The production kept details tightly under wraps, and any official announcements were sparse and non-committal. When news of T's departure eventually surfaced, it emerged through a brief, understated video message that thanked fans without offering real insight into why he was leaving. This silence only fueled speculation and curiosity. The organization had experienced internal disputes throughout multiple years, until their relationship with each other ended due to an unexpected event, which outsiders could not foresee. The production team experienced unexpected results because the decision-making process executed their plan without prior notice. The departure created a dual reaction, which people saw as both unexpected and necessary because of hidden conflicts and changes in organizational policies and people working together. The situation reached a critical point because T had become essential to the operation. Drew and he, together, created the core team, which operated Salvage Hunters by handling all tasks necessary for show production, from logistical work to transportation operations. The organization experienced more than just a casting change because his departure created a fundamental transformation. The series faced creative differences, which led to rumors about disagreement among the production team members. The production team experienced ongoing conflict because changes in leadership disrupted operational control from experienced team members who worked with T to their current feasible position. The behind-the-scenes power changes that occurred during this period had a major impact on his participation. The personal aspects of the situation created additional challenges for the investigation. The relationships between cast members and crew members, together with their off-screen connections and confidential interactions, became major factors that determined on-set production decisions. The final result was developed through the combination of human factors and professional elements. The surface story presented a simple resignation, but the actual events contained multiple hidden dimensions. The complete situation would demonstrate a complex relationship between loyalty and rivalry that involved unresolved matters, which would transform both the show and the actor. As these tensions grew, the dynamics on set began to change, setting the stage for a new chapter that few could have predicted. The changing dynamics on set. John T's role on Salvage Hunters was once clear and respected, the steady partner who made sure every trip ran smoothly. Over time, however, this role began to shift, reflecting a change not only in team structure but in the show's broader vision. Where familiarity and trust had once defined his presence, uncertainty and sidelining started to take hold. As new producers gained influence, decisions about content and control gradually moved away from longtime team members like T. The emphasis changed, favoring fresh faces and different on-screen energies. This strategic redirection inevitably meant less prominence for T, whose quiet competence was increasingly minimized on camera. Screen time became a key indicator of these changes. Early seasons featured T heavily alongside Drew, but later installments reduced his appearances. When he did appear, it was often as part of a wider crew rather than as a primary figure. This shift created a sense that T was becoming less central to the show's identity. Behind this on-screen diminution, relationships within the crew began to fray. T and Drew Pritchard, once close collaborators, found their communication dwindling. Shared lunches gave way to silence, and any dialogue during filming was terse. This breakdown symbolized a growing divide that went well beyond professional roles. The first T himself recognized a transformation that caused him to develop suspicion about the future progress of events. The actor started to decline certain planned scenes because he presented minor reasons for his absence, which production staff could not observe through their close work with him. The man who selected specific times to be absent from work showed growing feelings of isolation, which led him to reject participation in the program because it no longer matched his personal beliefs. The internal staff at Drew's team saw the introduction of a new assistant as an obvious indication of their internal relations. The new assistant functioned as a complete replacement, who would take over T's responsibilities while maintaining his position within the organization. The situation created a pattern of exclusion, which caused him to leave the group because it became his permanent feeling. The show established a new style and new pacing because its existing format and execution were not maintained. Longtime viewers noted a departure from the measured, steady rhythm T helped establish. The content shifted toward more dramatized moments, which occupied all available time, while T's practical work remained unfulfilled. The new approach created distance between him and his loyal followers, who preferred the original show style. T maintained his professional standards throughout all obstacles he faced. He continued his work by managing logistics, while he provided transportation advice and assessed items. His knowledge of the field remained essential to the project, although he lost his on-screen authority. The project displayed dedication to artistic work instead of seeking public recognition. The shifting conditions created opportunities for crew members to engage in personal conflicts, which led T to separate himself from others. The two groups failed to construct professional boundaries, which resulted in their work relationship ending in disaster. Beneath the professional shifts, the off-camera tensions became the true fault line threatening the team's cohesion. Off-camera tensions. While changing roles set the backdrop, the heart of John T's departure lay in complex personal dynamics behind the scenes. During the final stretch of Salvage Hunters, T developed a close working relationship with Rebecca Pritchard, Drew's ex-wife. Their frequent off-camera interactions quickly became a sensitive and controversial topic within the production. T and Rebecca spent time together on inventory checks and joint deliveries, activities requiring trust and collaboration. Yet, because Rebecca maintained a professional relationship with Drew following their separation, the closeness between her and T unsettled some members of the crew. The situation created whispers and underlying friction that affected group cohesion. The tension wasn't just a rumor. Sources confirmed that T began being excluded from trips when Drew was present. For nearly 3 months, they operated separately, increasing division and signaling a fracture in once cohesive teamwork. This distancing marked a critical point in T and Drew's relationship. The strain coincided with the arrival of a new assistant working alongside Drew, reinforcing the perception that T was being pushed aside. The overlap of personal and professional discord made the working environment more challenging and contributed directly to T's diminishing role. An insider revealed that during their last season together, T and Drew had a tense, nearly hour-long exchange on set. While the contents of this conversation remain unknown, the incident ended with T leaving the set early and not returning for several days, signaling a break in their collaboration. Following this confrontation, T's engagement with the show visibly dropped. He pulled back from joint scenes with Drew and was given solo appearances, a departure from their long-standing partnership. This shift suggested an intentional distancing that echoed the rift forming behind the scenes. The dissolving of their working relationship also affected social interactions on set. Whereas T and Drew had once shared meals and downtime, their communication became minimal, reflecting the emotional and professional gulf between them. This distancing made collaboration more difficult and eroded the chemistry viewers had long appreciated. Eventually, the production team made decisions that finalized T's removal for the upcoming season. He left group chats, returned his studio pass, and cleared personal belongings from the work van he had driven for years. These actions marked a clear and public acknowledgement of his permanent exit. Though officially framed as T choosing a new path, those close to the show understood the departure was the result of deeply rooted professional disagreements intertwined with personal conflicts. This fracture not only altered the show's course, but transformed T's life entirely. From the shifting on-set dynamics to the unraveling personal ties, these factors collided to make his departure inevitable, forcing a new and quieter chapter to begin. Northern Roots, Global Influence. John T., born and raised in the north of England, came from humble beginnings far removed from the television and antiques worlds. His family wasn't involved in media or the antiques business. His father worked in a mechanical repair shop, and his mother ran a small local store. Growing up surrounded by machinery and practical trades, T developed a hands-on understanding of tools, metal, and heavy equipment from an early age. This background planted the seeds for his future expertise. After leaving school at 17, T learned to drive heavy trucks and began working in transportation and furniture dismantling. From moving bulky goods across the region to breaking down large industrial pieces, he honed skills that required both physical strength and detailed technical knowledge. His experience navigating tight spaces and complex logistics gave him a unique edge in handling salvage operations that others might find daunting. T's knowledge extended beyond mere transportation. He became adept at assessing the value and condition of machinery, iron doors, steel columns, and other large items. Over time, he learned to distinguish what was worth saving, what could be sold for a profit, and what was simply scrap. This practical judgment would later prove indispensable in the antiques and salvage world. His path crossed with Drew Pritchard in the late 2000s during a furniture deal. At the time, Pritchard was expanding his antiques business and needed trusted help moving items from difficult-to-reach locations. T's ability to manage complicated transport logistics and fragile salvage made him an ideal partner. What started as a transactional relationship gradually evolved into a professional partnership built on mutual respect. Initial work with Drew involved straightforward hauling. Drew would purchase pieces, and T would handle the physical movement and logistics. But gradually, Pritchard began seeking T's input before transactions. T's seasoned eye and practical knowledge influenced buying decisions, as he quickly gauged the feasibility and safety of moving particular items. Drew respected this insight, and their collaboration deepened. The growing partnership between T and his partner required him to appear on camera, yet he showed initial resistance to performing that task. T needed no public exposure because he lacked any television background. His work involved planning transport systems while he mapped routes and managed all physical aspects of salvage operations. The production team's insistence eventually persuaded him, particularly because it allowed his natural demeanor to balance Pritchard's more dynamic personality. T functioned as the tranquil center of the production, who completed his work without showing any need for public recognition. He took charge of logistical planning, while he determined vehicle dimensions and inspected item conditions, and he sometimes took part in planned performances. The audience developed an affection for him because he presented himself with simple authenticity and showed real feelings while conducting himself professionally. The show obtained its unique charm from this unscripted element, which became a precious component of its overall attractiveness. The situation required T to demonstrate his capacity to handle unpredictable situations. T developed a makeshift method to protect their cargo when landslides prevented the crew from traveling. He resolved vehicle breakdowns immediately at their location, which stopped filming from experiencing operational delays. The show required these elements, which few people saw during broadcasting. John T's early life and career created the foundation that made him essential to Salvage Hunters. His practical knowledge became the foundation that supported all subsequent development. The path from his time as a northern tradesman to his role as a television personality shows how essential his work would become. Even as his personal journey unfolded, T's dedication quietly built the structure on which the show thrived, proving that true value often lies behind the scenes. Becoming the show's backbone. From the inception of Salvage Hunters, John T was much more than a background player. Although Drew Pritchard was positioned as the show's lead, T's steady presence and logistical mastery were foundational to every episode's success. Behind the camera, he orchestrated the complex choreography of the salvage operation, planning routes, scheduling transports, and ensuring that items reached their destination intact. This vital role earned him deep respect from the crew and cast alike. T's ability to anticipate challenges before they arose allowed the production to avoid costly delays. His practical sensibilities and hands-on approach meant that potential problems, whether narrow bridges, fragile items, or tight spaces, were assessed and resolved early. This preemptive skill set enabled the show to maintain a smooth flow, often making the demanding salvage work look effortless on screen. His logistics expertise extended beyond physical transport. T became a trusted judge of the true value of items in the field. More than once, he accurately appraised pieces before Drew made purchasing decisions. This blend of practical knowledge and shrewd business sense became a quiet but powerful influence on how deals were struck. His experience was not academic, but earned through years of hands-on work and deep familiarity with salvage and antiques. The pace and tone of the show were also deeply influenced by T. Unlike typical reality programs that rely on frenetic editing or staged drama, Salvage Hunters benefited from his steady, methodical work style. Episodes under his presence featured a balanced tempo, never rushed, never droning, allowing viewers to appreciate both the thrill and the craft of salvage. His straightforward approach created an atmosphere of authenticity that viewers found comforting and engaging. T's professionalism extended into his personal conduct on set. After filming, he maintained a simple lifestyle, driving home in his own truck, declining press opportunities, and refusing to participate in events or interviews. He turned down multiple guest appearances on other television programs, seeking to preserve the original role he had agreed to without theatrical embellishment or media spin. This quiet integrity further distinguished him. His relationship with Drew was built on transparency and trust developed long before cameras were involved. This foundation fueled almost a decade of collaboration marked by mutual respect, even as their public personas contrasted. Drew as the charismatic negotiator and T as the unassuming enabler behind the scenes. Together, they created a dynamic that resonated with audiences and drove the show's success. Even as the program grew and evolved, T never lost sight of his core responsibilities. He remained deeply invested in the practical aspects of salvage and logistics, rather than the allure of fame. This steadfastness grounded the team and ensured that, amidst the expanding production efforts, the essential work got done right. Behind every smooth salvage journey was John T. quietly steering operations. His steady hand ensured that complex transportation routes were navigated safely and that high-value goods arrived without incident. This reliability became essential to the show's production rhythm and its reputation for authenticity. Yet, as much as his presence strengthened the series, the very changes that propelled Salvage Hunters into the spotlight also sowed the seeds of shifting priorities. The foundations T built would soon be challenged by new forces seeking to reshape the show's identity. The gradual evolution of the program's direction would test even the strongest partnerships and ultimately lead to a crossroads T could not ignore. Life after Salvage Hunters. After making the decision to leave Salvage Hunters, John T. chose a life far removed from the television spotlight. He relocated to a quiet coastal area, settling into a peaceful rhythm that contrasted sharply with the hectic pace of filming and salvage trips. Rather than pursue further media exposure, T embraced solitude and simplicity, seeking fulfillment outside of show business. This retreat was a deliberate choice to regain control over his personal and professional life on his own terms. In this new chapter, T opened a modest antique shop called The Quiet Forge, a name that reflects his understated approach to life and work. The shop itself is a working space more than a traditional store, displaying old industrial metalwork, repair tools, and rare antique materials in a practical, organized fashion. Unlike many antique shops that boast ornate decoration or nostalgic flair, the Quiet Forge is utilitarian, emphasizing function over style. Visitors often remark on the neatness and thoughtful arrangement, which speaks to T's methodical nature. His clientele mainly consists of craftsmen, architects, and interior designers seeking unique and sometimes hard-to-find materials. T does not flaunt his television past, nor does he use it as a selling point. Instead, he focuses on the quality and provenance of his goods, maintaining a low profile and engaging genuinely with customers. For locals, he is simply a skilled, meticulous shopkeeper with an expert's eye for detail. The supply chain T manages is similarly hands-on and personal. He sources items by personally visiting old factories, abandoned farms, and disused processing plants. These trips can last several days, during which he uncovers hidden treasures others might overlook. This solo approach to sourcing reflects his preference for control and authenticity, avoiding large-scale commercial operations in favor of craftsmanship. The employee works from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening, according to a regular work schedule, which designates Mondays as non-working days and maintains fixed weekend times. T operates his entire business through his own efforts, which include handling all tasks from packaging to delivery without any help from others. His strict daily schedule stands in complete opposition to the unpredictable nature of filming requirements, yet it meets his needs for predictable life patterns and independent decision-making. T has chosen to completely disappear from public view since he left his television career. He turned down multiple requests from antique fairs to appear at their events, while also declining to work with any media organizations. T makes an obvious choice to stop seeking fame because he wants to live a peaceful life while he dedicates himself to his work. People who have collaborated with him know this limitation because they recognize it as his fundamental personality trait. The Quiet Forge maintains its business operations through customer referrals, which originate from its owner's decision to stop appearing in public. T provides free restoration knowledge to customers who arrive at his shop to ask him about restoring ancient equipment. Although he does not provide official restoration services, he believes that all operational equipment should remain in service because operational equipment preserves its original value. John T. operates his business through private methods, which do not require any marketing activities, because he has built his new life according to 3 core values that include personal freedom, genuine self-expression, and honoring established customs. The man who achieved inner tranquility by leaving public view to pursue his true interests now experiences life in a more peaceful manner. This deliberate choice to embrace a modest, grounded lifestyle set the stage for a deeper personal transformation that went beyond business. Health and personal transformation. Shortly after removing himself from the pressures of filming and travel, John T. confronted long-ignored health issues that had silently affected his quality of life. A comprehensive medical checkup revealed that he was dealing with a severely underactive thyroid. This condition slowed his metabolism, causing rapid weight gain despite no significant changes in diet, and brought on chronic fatigue, dizziness, and concentration problems. For years, T had pushed through symptoms, attributing them to the exhausting schedule and constant travel. The relentless pace of Salvage Hunters had left little room for self-care, and he relegated concerns to the background. Once filming stopped and his schedule cleared, the physical toll became impossible to ignore. Simple activities like walking for more than 10 minutes left him breathless, and his sleep suffered greatly. Determined to regain control, T embarked on a comprehensive lifestyle overhaul rather than quick fixes or fad diets. He began with something straightforward: walking daily. Initially, this was limited to a few hundred meters around his neighborhood, but he gradually increased it to several kilometers each morning. This commitment persisted through all kinds of weather, underscoring a resolve to make lasting change. Alongside increased activity, T made significant adjustments to his diet. He eliminated processed and packaged foods, reduced carbohydrate intake, and focused on home-cooked meals prepared with fresh ingredients. There was no personal chef or extreme dietary regimen. Everything was guided by his body's response. When he noticed improvements in weight and sleep quality, he maintained the same routine without imposing further radical changes. The gradual transformations created their first visible effects after a period of 6 months. His friends and his regular customers noticed that his clothes became looser while his body moved better, and his endurance reached new heights. T accomplished his weight loss of over 30 kilograms during an 18-month duration without using surgical procedures or advanced medical treatments. The complete changeover happened without any social media postings or public announcements to inform people about it. T experienced physical changes that led to his mental transformation because of the physical changes he experienced. The transformed man who used to be unfriendly now makes himself available to people because he wants to connect with customers and tell them about his restoration work experience. His physical energy, together with his new attitude, created an inspiring presence that people found captivating. The man who walked through life with his humble nature and his ability to handle things without help never pursued awards or public acknowledgement. He made the necessary changes to achieve better health results and improve his overall well-being. His professional work showed the same down-to-earth practical approach that he used to achieve his work tasks. John T. experienced a health and spiritual restoration, which enabled him to accept his new life after his television career ended. He has completed his work for television shows and their production teams while following a basic principle, which states that he should embrace lightness and work only within his skills and create permanent success. The steady rhythm of his new life mirrors the calm confidence that once made him the cornerstone of Salvage Hunters. Legacy and lasting influence. John T.'s departure from Salvage Hunters left an unmistakable void in the show's landscape, highlighting just how integral he was to its rhythm and success. Though he rarely stepped into the spotlight, his steady presence anchored the production, ensuring operations ran smoothly behind the scenes and on camera. Viewers grew accustomed to his quiet reliability, which gave the show a sense of trustworthiness and calm amid the chaos of salvage adventures. Throughout his tenure, T was never positioned as a leading man or the star of the show, yet everyone on the set recognized his value. His careful planning of logistics, attention to detail in transport, and ability to foresee challenges made him indispensable. This enduring reliability earned him the respect of colleagues and fans alike, cementing his reputation as the silent engine powering the series. Beyond logistics, T had a significant influence over the production's pace and tone. His unhurried, methodical work style shaped the way episodes unfolded, maintaining a balanced tempo that allowed stories to breathe without artificial tension or drama. After his departure, many noticed a marked change. The pacing felt rushed and less coherent, losing some of the familiar atmosphere T helped cultivate. His expertise in appraisal was another vital asset. Before Drew Pritchard made many purchasing decisions, T had already assessed the feasibility and real-world value of items. This practical foresight saved time and resources, and it underscored the unique symbiosis between them. T's grounded realism complemented Drew's flair and negotiation skills. His operational flexibility work made a significant contribution to his overall impact. The production team changed their operational plans to match his schedule because his participation was necessary for their filming work. The team showed him an extraordinary level of respect because he played a vital role in the show as both a co-star and an essential organizational member whose participation was necessary for the show's success. The efforts to substitute T after his departure demonstrated his exceptional abilities. The new team members faced difficulties in showing both initiative and consistent performance, which created a noticeable gap in their abilities. The team found T to be an essential member because he completed his tasks on time while demonstrating the ability to handle work without any mistakes. The silent departure of John T from Salvage Hunters brought no public recognition, yet his contributions remain. He selected his exit time because he followed his personal code of sobriety, dedication to work, and practical life values instead of public displays. The production of the beloved series results from his continuous work, which extends through his entire career. Fans of T found his presence to bring stability and authenticity. They showed that behind-the-scenes work and unnoticeable activities are essential for their role. The audience must see his performance. The trust and respect he gained through his work over many years create his true impact. John T established a legacy through his dedication to integrity and his commitment to solving problems. He demonstrated that sustained dedication works more effectively than temporary attractions do. John T's journey from behind-the-scenes expert to beloved on-screen presence, and then to a life of quiet dignity, offers valuable lessons about staying true to oneself. His lasting influence on Salvage Hunters shows that sometimes the strongest impact comes without fanfare. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more insightful stories about the people who shape the worlds we watch. And don't miss the next video shown on the screen